Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center's Something to Talk About. Today we have Tressa Johnson here from the library, and Tressa is going to talk to us a little bit about free tech training and resources. But first, I do want to note that our Something to Talk About program is sponsored by Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island. Fieldstone offers assisted and independent living, along with a vibrant memory care community, and is located on the tranquil Rolling Bay campus. They also include day stay and respite care programs. Call 206-594-1010 or email Ashley, ASHLEYC at fieldstonecommunities.com. Check out their website at fieldstonecommunities.com or come by for a tour. And we also would like to acknowledge that we meet on the ancestral homeland of the Suquamish people, the people of the clear salt water. The Suquamish have lived on the water of the Salish Sea since time immemorial. We honor them and are learning from their stewardship of these lands and waters. Okay, Tressa, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks so much, Mimi. Thanks everybody for coming. I know that tech help is not a particularly sexy topic. It's not very exciting. In fact, it can be intimidating and daunting. So I do want to thank you for coming today. I believe that tech help, where to find it, how to access it, is really a topic that's worth revisiting regularly. And two reasons for that come to mind regularly. The first being that we don't need tech help until we need it, right? I mean, everything goes fine, and then I make an error or I come across some stumbling block, and all of a sudden, now I need help, and I want it now. It's a good idea, I think, to review tech help options precisely because we can't predict what help we'll need, when we'll need it, but when we do need it, we need it right away. So it helps to know what your options are. A second reason that comes to mind for periodically reviewing tech help options is that technology, has there's so many more options available to us. Really, it's remarkable. The opportunities that are available to us, the many different ways in which we can use technology is just a gift. And it's also a bit of a curse, right? For the same reasons. There are so many options. There are so many opportunities. And so, for example, I know there are things that I don't know, but I don't know what they are, so I can't ask about them. I want to learn more about using my smartphone, but I don't know what my smartphone can do, so I don't know what to ask. I don't know what I want to learn about it. So by reviewing tech help options, it's an opportunity to get an idea of what is out there, what possibilities there are. So that was a long way of saying thank you for coming and stick with us. So the main resource that I'm going to review today, it may not seem applicable today, but it might be applicable tomorrow. And maybe it will offer you an idea of where you want to focus your tech learning in the future. Today, I want to focus on gfclearnfree.org. It's a free online service. It's a project of the Goodwill Community Foundation, GCF. It's available 24/7 for free. You need a device, a computer, a mobile device, and an internet connection, and you can access it at any time. So let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So here I am at the Google search screen. So I'm going to go into the search box and Google Community Foundation. So GCF Learn, and it just came up right away. The first possibility here in the list. So instead of typing it, I'm just going to click right here on GCF Learn Free. And here it is. It's the first result. So I'm going to click on this link, Free Online Learning at GCF Global. And here we are. So if you have attended any of my previous tech videos, you know that when I visit a website for the first time, I find it valuable to take my hand off the mouse to really explore the screen. But today, in the interest of time, I want to go directly to the topics that are available to us here. So if we look at the ribbon at the top of the screen, this white ribbon, you can see to the right, we can search for something specific. Here are where the topics are. This website is available in Spanish and Portuguese, as well as English. Logging in and join for free. And I'm going to talk about joining more in a little bit. Suffice it to say that it is not a requirement to join. And really, they're talking about creating an account. Doing that enables you to track your progress as you do tutorials on their website, but it's not a requirement. So I'm going to go here to topics and click there. And this site, here or this page rather, just looking over these lists gives you an idea of what sort of information or tutorials are available. They've got very basic how to use a device. They also have how do you use a device in this context? How do you use software? I mean, it's really quite broad. And I have a confession to make that I started exploring this and I got a little confused. I think there are some inconsistencies here. So for example, in the second column under the internet, I figured that this header, which is bolded, the internet, when I clicked more, it would include these things: basic internet skills, online safety, social media, but it doesn't. So I really had to play around a little bit and see where I might suggest you go first. And I do think a good place to start, if you're interested in any of these topics, and I'll stick with the internet, is the More button. And you'll notice in all of these columns under each header, there is a choice to click on More with the ellipsis. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. So you'll see under the header Internet, we have these smaller topics: Chrome, Firefox, Edge, view more tutorials. I'm going to click on this to see what else they have on the topic of the internet. So various websites and tools that are internet-based. I'm going to scroll down. So you can see here, there's a wide variety of topics. Internet safety, under online safety, we have internet safety. And I actually, when I have in the past when I have prepared for this talk, I have gone to this website and read it over. It's really, I thought, very helpful. And social media, we can view some more tutorials. And there's really quite a bit here. So I wanted to give you an idea also of what the tutorials that are all self-led. There are some tutorials in text, some in video, some they have games or interactive activities that you can do within their tutorials. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll up. And then I want to go back to topics in that upper white ribbon. And I'm going to go to, under computers, this option, Getting Started. I'm going to click there. and scroll down a little bit because I love that there is a tutorial on how to use a mouse. This using a mouse like this one is not an easy skill, and it's not intuitive. There is nothing intuitive about it. So I wanted to see what this tutorial was. So I'm going to go ahead and click right on that link for tutorial and scroll down. So here is number one, the mouse tutorial. And it tells you right here that they are offering you some mini games to build proficiency. So I'm going to go ahead and click on mouse tutorial. I know this is a link because my mouse, the image on the screen, which is this arrow, when I move it towards mouse tutorial, it becomes a finger. So now I know that I can click on that. It's actually a link. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. So it's really a very clear, they give you a little bit of text, just pointing out what the different parts of the mouse are. And I'm going to keep scrolling down. They explain how to hold the mouse, how to use the mouse, and then they have, click on the button, roll over, learn what you might see when you hover over an item. So it's really, as you can see, it is self-guided. You can go at your own pace. I really like in this tutorial that you can see that they give you the opportunity to use the mouse and see exactly what they are explaining. So you're not dependent on understanding what is being written. Part of what I find challenging about tech learning is that there's so much vocabulary with which I'm unfamiliar. Either it is used differently in the vocabulary that I'm accustomed to using the word, or it's a new word for me completely. It's just very helpful that they have tools here that they can show you exactly what they're talking about. And one of the ways one might use these tutorials is if you discover, wow, I do really want to learn to use my mouse. If you have any questions, on top of this tutorial, you can make an appointment for tech help at the Senior Community Center with the BYS volunteers and ask them those questions. So it's a way of kind of learning, well, oh, this is something I didn't even know I could do this with my mouse, or I didn't know that this was an option, and ask more questions to a live person. So I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to go back to topics. And I see there are some questions in the chat. Are those questions or? Apple product users. They actually do have that. Thank you, Francis, for asking that questions. So I'm going to click on, I'm going to close my meeting chat. Okay, so computers. I'm going to go to smartphones and tablets here in the second column and scroll down. So you can see they do have iPad basics and iPhone basics. And neither of those devices use a mouse. Mobile device tips, I like that. That is applicable to both Android or Apple. I'm going to scroll back up. You just need to dig a little bit deeper in order to find those device-specific questions or assistance. I'm going to click back on topics. And this really is, so they do have, let's see, Windows, online learning. I'm still under computers. Let me go to, I'm going to click on the more button. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so here you can see, again, smartphones and tablets. Here we go, Mac OS. So that is using Mac computers. That's helpful. I think that hopefully that works for you, Francis.
Is that using a laptop computer?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So OS stands for operating system, which so it's the Apple computer, the Mac operating system. The way I understand it is that the operating system is like the brain of the computer. So it is what makes all of the apps work together. It makes everything that your computer has installed, makes it work well with everything else.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Is that correct? Oh, good. One of the fallacies of tech learning, I think I'm saying that correctly, is this idea that some people are really good at tech and other people aren't. And I think that is just a fundamental fallacy. I work quite a bit with technology. I can't teach about everything that I use it for because I really don't understand it well enough to be able to explain why things work the way they work. And what's been interesting, I work as liaison really between the Senior Community Center and Bainbridge Youth Services to provide the one-on-one tech help at the Senior Community Center that happens during the school year. And one of the things that I have seen happen there, which is so fascinating, is that the teenagers don't know as much about technology as we think they do. It's been fascinating. However, what they do know is how to problem solve. So when you meet with, what I have seen is the tutors, the teens coming and sitting down and talking out loud about, let's check this and let's go here and let's, so they illustrate that while they may not have the answer to your specific question, they do know how the technology fits to get how different pieces of technology fits together. So for example, is the question that I have, is it related to my phone? Is it the app? Or is it the website? Which of those places do I go to figure out why I'm getting an error message? And often they will be able to identify that thing and then therefore know where to go to see if they can solve the problem. And that type of information is so helpful. And it's encouraging to know that we're all learning. We know different things. But yeah. Are there any more questions about that? I'm going to stop sharing.
I was going to say when you were saying, I went a couple weeks ago to have some of the high school kids just kind of help me with a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting that you say they don't always know all the answers, but they know where to get it. And this little gal that helped me was great. And she just typed in or talked to Siri and said, and just asked the question exactly like I would be asking, like I was asking her. And we found out lots of things. And I go, oh, yeah, I could do that. I mean, I got Siri to turn my flashlight off and on just by accident. I figured out I could have her do that for me. So that's great.
That is great. Another resource for tech learning is John Chen. He is a monthly guest on Something to Talk About, and his videos are available via the Senior Community Center's website as well as their YouTube page. And if I apologize, John, if I repeat this, if I make a mistake as I repeat this, but I remember him saying that, it's difficult, you have an issue with your phone. And I mean, this has happened it's happened to me. So I shouldn't assume it's happened to everybody, but it certainly has happened to me. It's doing something I don't think it should do. And by golly, I just want it to be fixed. That's all I want. And I talked to someone and they start asking me all these questions. I don't know. I just want my phone to do this other thing. Why are you asking me these questions? Right. And, John drew this picture for during one of his videos that let's say you're at the senior community center and you want to get to Costco, which on the outside looks like it could be a very simple thing. All you want to do is go to Costco. That's really all you want. Well, there are so many factors involved in that simple activity. So, do you have a driver's license? Do you have access to a vehicle, or do you need to take public transportation? If you're going to take public transportation, what is the schedule? Do you have a token, or do you have the ability to take that? If you have a car or a vehicle, either way, so you're on a vehicle, you still can't get to Costco. Well, is that because my tire is flat? Is it because the transmission broke down? Is this an electric car? Did my battery run out of energy? I mean, there's so many factors, right? If my car stops working, I think, do I not have enough gas? Did I burn the oil? There are all of these questions and problem solving questions that we go through almost unconsciously. Figuring out what the issue is. There's traffic. Has there been an accident? Did a tree fall across the road? Is there road construction? I mean, there's so many different reasons for that to happen. And then once you get to Silverdale, hopefully Costco is open, right? What are their hours? Is maybe there's a workers' strike, or, there are just a myriad. But when he drew that picture, when John Chen drew that picture for his viewers, it really helped for me illustrate the fact that I didn't understand, when it comes to technology, I don't understand how all of the pieces are connected. So you're asking me about my tire. All I want is to get to Costco. But why are you asking me about my tires, right? It's just super helpful. A very helpful illustration, I think. And I will also confess that my hope is to keep my my tech help videos somewhat short, because it's such a large topic. There are so many resources out there. My hope is to talk about one resource every month. And I want to keep it short so that it is doable. You're not having to put aside a full 60 minutes, either watching the video or as an attendee, but that you are given an idea of a place you might want to go to explore. For me as a speaker, I don't know who will be attending, and I don't know who will be watching the video. So I can't address something specific. I'm happy to address specific questions. But in terms of tech assistance, I do believe that it is helpful to continually revisit what is available to us, because we all need something different at different times.
Definitely. I think that the resource you shared with us is so good, especially in terms of like just staying kind of informed, keeping your tech brain fresh, if you will, especially paired with what Rita said about Siri or Google or ChatGPT. I don't even like to utter those, but sometimes I'm married to a tech guy, so I kind of immediately consider myself tech illiterate because I'm like, oh, he's the tech person. but it's phenomenal. So it's like sometimes I forget that I can query the internet because it's like that in itself is tech. And so it feels like, well, I don't know where to start, but nowadays you can type a question into the Google search bar and it will give you bullet point answers. I mean, I think a lot of the tech, the barrier is confidence.
I do too, and I want to kind of jump in with as your local librarian, the answer you receive is not always correct. So it's good to keep that in mind. And not everything has been digitized, and actually a minority, there's really only a small amount of information that is available for free on the internet, or available on the internet at all. So we always want to remember that. That said, there is so much that one can do. I mean, you don't have a calculator, you can just type in an equation and it will give you the answer. So there really is so much that you can do. And I agree, Mimi, that so much of it is about confidence. And someone, when I was in graduate school, my computer just died. And you can imagine I was beside myself, and I went to a computer expert in tears and with tissues, and and I just kept saying, oh my, I can't believe I'm so really just putting myself down about the fact that I didn't understand what I did. I don't know anything. And this expert stopped what they were doing and looked at me and said, Tressa, if you spoke French and I didn't, would you think I was stupid? He said, it's the same thing. I know computer language and you don't. It says nothing about intelligence. It simply says that, we have different areas of knowledge. And I have taken that comment and reminded myself of that through the last 15 years and shared that story because it really is illustrative of the fact that, we're not, when there are things that we don't know about tech, we're not dumb. Not at all. And it is always changing. One of the strengths, again, of in my opinion, of going to one-on-ones with the teens is not that they know more than I do. Rather, they know how to problem solve. They know how things are connected in a way that I don't understand. I understand some of it, but they understand the grammar, if you will, the grammatical structure of technology. And I am simply not there. And frankly, it doesn't really quite interest me. But I do know that their knowledge is such that they can, there's a lot they know that I don't know, but also there's the benefit of understanding the scaffolding, the way in which things are connected in terms of technology.
And I think just exposure, right? Like, I think that young people today are constantly required to kind of flex their tech muscles in a way that we who didn't necessarily grow up with the tech that they are growing up with haven't been asked to.
Absolutely.
Right. And we don't have to know everything. That's what I said when I was working. I said, I don't have to know everything. I just need to know who to go to or where to get the information. I don't have to know everything. I've hired somebody that knows that, and I just need to be able to access them. And so that's kind of the way, as you're saying, with our computers. And now my son-in-law, who is a tech guy, that's a sideline, but so I was having trouble and I could not call my sister, and he kept saying the call failed, and I called other people that day. And so I texted her. I could text her, but I texted her. I said, call me. And she goes, it's going right to voicemail. So there was something there. And so I texted him and he goes, Rita, restart your phone, just shut it off and turn it back on. And so I did. And of course it worked fine, because I think I had that one time, and I think we sometimes forget we can just shut it off. And for some reason, I mean, it just might be a little cranky and it'll come back on and everything works great. So just keep that in mind. If it gets so frustrating, just turn the thing off, wait a minute, turn it back on and see what happens.
You know, Rita, funny story. As I was preparing for this talk and I was exploring GCF Learn Free, there was the see more resources. I forget the text exactly, but it wasn't working and it wasn't working. I thought, this is really, okay, how am I going to direct people? And then I got, I had to work on the service desk. So I shut down my computer. Pardon me, I shut down my browser. My computer was still on. And 2 hours later, I went back and I went to gcflearnfree.org and it was working. I mean, there were, so it happened even, it wasn't my device I had to turn off. I just, left the website, turned off my browser, and I don't know why these things happen.
Right, because let us not forget that tech is also not infallible, right? Like,
right. And I hope that I can continue to share the foibles that or the things that I experience that don't work out on tech, because I think that the more we talk about what isn't working for us or what we learned through a stumble, an unintentional stumble, that we all benefit from that, right?
Well, and the other thing that I noticed with the high school kids, but I just noticed it in in TV programs and stuff, we're just watching the kids, they are together all the time sharing information, because they are in a group a lot of the times, or they'll be online together, even though they're not physically together, and they're sharing information all the time. And I think, and we don't always have that opportunity to be in that setting, to be sharing information all the time, like the kids do. So that's another thing. And like when I'm in my knitting group, somebody learns something, or if I figure out something, I go, hey, you guys, guess what? Let's do this. How did I do? It was something for COVID, and I did something and I figured out something and I shared it. And so everybody could kind of, if it was important to them, then they could do it. So I think sharing information among ourselves, when we see each other, if we've learned something, we need to go, hey, here you go.
Well, and you share a tip with something that you learned, and the person next to you didn't realize it was something that they had to learn that would make their lives easier, could help them with their next project. So yeah, same thing with tech. Barbara.
I just wanted to say thank you for this. There were a number of topics that I could use on there. Google Docs will be so helpful for me to learn about. And so I'm grateful to know of a place that I can go and at least start building a context in my head and, maybe hone my skills after a while. Thank you.
My pleasure. And there are so many. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to this year. I think as I was thinking about what I would do for something to talk about, that talking about tech help resources may be, because this may be a good entry point for you, Barbara, for Google Docs, but maybe, next month I'd like to talk about LinkedIn Learning, which is another resource, and that might either be the next step after GCF Learn Free, or perhaps it's a better first step, right? It just is so, there are so many free options out there, and I think they too can work together. But but we need to know about them. And
Mhm.
actually GCF Learn Free is where I also learned about Google Docs. It's really a great, I mean, it's a resource that I use, and it's very helpful.
So I'm just
So-
thinking maybe,
Oh,
sure, Francis. It might be able to put a little blurb in the splash. I don't know who's doing the splash for some tech stuff, or, you know, do it up. Here's a website you might want to look at. Just a thought.
I have a question. Are your videos captioned?
I believe that they are. I believe, oh, do you mean the videos on GCF Learn Free?
Yeah, the ones that you created. You said you've created some of your own.
Yes, so the videos that I created either for or through the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center, they are captioned. There should be a CC symbol at the bottom. Yes.
It's very frustrating to go to certain websites or even on television and information you'd like to have and there's no captions. And I have a very difficult time. I have to have captions on video, and one-on-one I'm okay, but that's it. Hearing technology is something I wish they'd improve. Second question I have for you is another challenge coming up that we're all going to face, and especially I think librarians, is artificial intelligence and what it's been doing. And as someone who worked with the Seattle Times for a long time, you know, you really are frustrated when magazines like Sports Illustrated print 4 articles that were written by artificial intelligence, and they don't even acknowledge that in their magazine. And it's one thing to use it, which I think is absolutely bad journalism, unless you're just using it for a particular percentage source or, you know, fact. But to use it and then not acknowledge it, you know, using it, I think we're in big trouble when it comes to political issues, because I'm sorry, I don't know why that's going on. When it comes to political issues, we're in big trouble if we aren't smart enough to figure out what's going on.
I think where artificial intelligence presents, I mean, artificial intelligence will speak untruths. I mean, it lies, right? It will come up with, if it can't find the answer, it will make something up. And I think it's an incredibly important topic to be talking about, and absolutely in terms of librarianship, just like computers, you know, we no longer have reference service at the library anymore, right? Because people have computers and they think they can find the answers on their own, which may be the case. Other times it may not be the case, and certainly with AI, then you even to an even larger degree than already, then you don't know what information you are getting, what the veracity of that information is, right? And well, here's a question, because I have wondered what, you know, I know that Europe has really taken taken a step forward in terms of protecting internet users' privacy through just even putting the cookies window on every screen. So you have to be aware that you're sharing your information that way. And I'm wondering about what sort of controls could be put around AI use, should be put around AI use, and how that might be done. I don't know.
Now, it would be a big challenge.
Mhm. It certainly does seem in journalism in particular somewhat disingenuous when it's not a human being. But
Well, I noticed it's being used on some sites that sell. And there's a description of the article and then reviews. And instead of letting you see all the reviews, they have an artificial intelligence summary. And it says, many of the viewers like the comfort of this. Some viewers said it was this and that. That's all artificial intelligence. It's just taking all the reviews and summarizing it as much as they've been told to summarize it.
Well, I wonder, thinking again about tech help and resources, and I did not search for this, but I think I think it will become a topic similar to online security or, internet basics become a subtopic, right, of AI and navigating navigating information on the internet. It certainly includes navigating the presence now of AI. And another reason to be aware of what tech help is out there, so that we can kind of learn about the environment in which we find ourselves right now. Absolutely.
It's interesting because I obviously referenced it earlier when I said Chat GPT, which is, again, just sort of an indication of what a vast landscape AI covers in the tech world. Because of course I was not referencing like articles written by AI like you're talking about, Francis. I've used Chat GPT, for example, to say like, hey, my phone is doing this weird thing. What should I do? And I mean, it's almost like Google on steroids. It's like it responds in a way that's actually super accessible and human-like. And so the steps to take have, like, I've troubleshooted that way and it's been effective.
It's a new world. Absolutely. Well, if there are any other topics that you all would like me to discuss, whether it's about the library, if there's a specific tech help question that you have, please feel free to reach out to me at the library. My email address is tjohnson@KRL for Kitsap Regional Library, krl.org. Again, it's tjohnson@krl.org. Thank you, Mimi. And the phone number is 206-451-5050. And I can see Mimi typing right now. Thank you very much.
Is the T Johnson capitalized, like T capitalized J?
It does not need to be capitalized. No. Thank you for asking. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, bravo. Thank you, Tressa. That was super
Thank
informative.
you.
And thank you, everybody. That was a stimulating conversation.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye.